So in today's market, if you are contemplating purchasing a home, really is your primary residence, a place to live, there's some things that you need to understand about the market. And some of this is a little complicated, but we're going to try and break it down as simply as possible. The first thing you need to understand is that you're buying into a market where prices are falling. So far this year, through May, prices have fallen about 3.5% in Wilmington compared to last year from January to May. So prices are continuing to decline. And that's really important, because if you're thinking that you're going to purchase a home today and sell it in 3 years and make money, you're probably wrong. So every person that I speak with about purchasing real estate in Wilmington today, I tell them that they need to plan on holding the house for at least 7 years. If you look at most traditional real estate investment texts, books that have been written about that, most real estate investors will tell you if you're purchasing a home with the plan to own it for less than 7 years, you're speculating. So you really don't need to speculate in this market. Unfortunately, with the huge rise in prices that we saw, that was the norm. From 2003 to 2007, that's what people did. They were buying houses and selling them a year or two later and making $100,000 and then moving up to another house. And it was a very unhealthy market. You know, at that time, everybody thought it was great, but nobody really thought about how bad it was for the buyers, because most buyers in that market were forced into a position of having to make a really rapid decision because there were 6 other offers in on a property, and it wasn't fair to them. I'm a little off subject, but the second component that you've got to think about if you're going to purchase a home today is understanding the relationship between falling prices and interest rates. Okay, because today interest rates are lower than they have been probably ever in history. And that's created this massive purchasing power for most folks. Today, because interest rates are at 4.5%, someone that would normally be a $150,000 home purchaser can now buy a $250,000 house, and they can lock that rate in for 30 years. What's interesting is as interest rates creep up, the rise in interest rates is disproportionately going to affect a home buyer's purchasing power when you compare it to falling prices. So a little tick up in interest rates is going to cause your payment to go up massively. Another way to look at that is if you are looking at a $200,000 house and you negotiate the price down to $185,000, you're going to see like a $60 difference a month in your mortgage payment. It's not that significant. So what we know though is that when rates go from 4.5% to 5%, it's a lot more than a $60 change in your mortgage payment if you go from paying $185 to $200. Today in this market, what a lot of buyers are saying is I want to wait till it hits bottom. And there's 2 fundamental problems with that. Number one, you won't know that it hit bottom until it's already occurred and prices have started to rise again. Okay, so you may have missed a great buying opportunity. The second thing that most people aren't taking into consideration is as they're waiting for that bottom to come, rates are ultimately going to rise. Okay, so if rates go from 4.5% today to 7% 2 or 3 years from now, then these buyers are going to be in a position where they can't purchase the house that they want. And they're going to end up purchasing a house that's a lot less expensive that maybe they can't stay in for the 7 years that we talked about earlier. So all these things kind of work together, and the biggest thing to me when I sit with buyers and talk about this market is just making sure that they're not going to try and sell the house in 3 years. I understand that things happen, but what I'm looking for from them is an acknowledgement and an understanding that probably 3 years from now their house is going to be worth less money. My business is about building clients for life, and so I would rather tell somebody up front that their house is going to be worth less than have them come back to me 3 years from now and say, CB, help me sell this house, and I can't do it because it's decreased in value.